Hey everyone, it's me, Mr. T. This is a very special episode of Boring Tattooer. Today I'm going to interview one of the most significant, influential, and important tattoo artists of our time. He's one of the few people who inspired me to start tattooing, one of those whose works I tried to copy during my first years of tattooing, and he's also one of the people who enabled me to change my life and move to California. I'd love for you guys to have a chance to absorb some of his knowledge and to get to know him a little bit better. His name is Carlos Torres. Carlos, thank you for having me in your studio. It's an honor to be here. Please introduce yourself to the audience.
My name is Carlos Torres. I own the Raven and the Wolves in Long Beach, California.
Amazing. Let's start from some simple questions. What's your favorite pair of shoes?
Converse.
Which one?
I'm not sure what they're called, but they're like I can't even find them no more. They're like a quilted kind of material.
Cool,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, but they look just like regular old school Converse.
Uh-huh. How about your dream car?
My dream car, Aston Martin.
Which one?
I want the one James Bond drove. Yeah.
The old school one?
Old school, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Name the one thing you would save from a burning house other than Mika.
Oh, I was gonna say that's an easy one. I mean, I think my computer files, because it has the history of my work. Mm-hmm. But all that is kind of backed up, so maybe I don't have to do that. I would say I have a samurai sword from like made in 1561, I think it is. Mm-hmm. That needs to come with me, yeah.
You would look good with the sword and a dog.
For sure.
On the street.
It would be Wu-Tang Clan.
Favorite place in the world to travel?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Japan, mm-hmm. Probably, but after my last trip to Africa, I really want to start exploring more of Africa. Mm. But I've always loved animals and wildlife and nature, so I'll go with Japan for now.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. Who did you want to become when you were a kid?
A Laker. A Los Angeles Laker, yeah. Mm. But it didn't grow tall enough to fulfill that one.
Do you remember what inspired you when you were young?
I used to play a lot of sports, so I used to, I used to like a lot of sports figures, Uh-huh. Yeah, and that was kind of right up until I found art, Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what inspires you now?
Everything, but art inspires me. I love seeing paintings, that really usually gets me motivated to get off my butt and go paint. Yeah.
Would you say that fine art is your favorite type of art, or like sculptures, other stuff?
Just anything to do with art is good for me. I really dig on sculptures, and then I would say contemporary artists,
Mm-hmm. What are your hobbies other than painting and hanging out with Mika?
And hanging out with Mika, that's my life. I recently just started playing golf again, and I've been having a lot of fun with that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and actually got asked to do this kind of thing with Puma Golf. Mm. So I hope that comes out cool. They wanted to kind of show that other people golf, and so they were like, oh, let's do a tattoo artist. So it's cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Who are your favorite painters?
Favorite painters, I will go with Caravaggio. Mm-hmm. John Singer Sargent's my favorite painter, and then Mucha. Mm. Those are probably my three favorite, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What made you start tattooing?
Man, I just fell into it. I really didn't seek to be a tattooer. I was hanging out with some friends one day. We had a homemade machine. I did it they asked me to do it because they knew I knew how to draw, and then you know, we were young and dumb, and we were like, whoa, that's so cool. And then from there, I just was like, all right, I'll be a tattooer, or I'm gonna look to try and be a tattooer. So yeah.
What's the main difference between fine art and tattooing for you? For example, when you use your painting as a reference for a tattoo, what do you need to change to make it work? Is it like overall contrast, flow, some compositional elements, or something else?
Yeah, I mean, all of that, you know. I mean, you obviously have to design it, the composition on an arm or whatever the body part is, so that you have to change that, number one. I do love adding a lot of flow and movement to my work, like kind of, you know, do the Japanese style art. I'm really a big fan of that. But as far as like just my paintings or fine art into that, like you definitely have to add more contrast and sharper edges than I think you would do like in a painting. Yeah.
Okay. How did you find your style? Did you always know what exactly you wanted to draw, or has the subject changed over the years?
It changes over the years, you know. I think like being inspired by different things, like sometimes just walking down the street, I'll see something that inspires me, and I want to add some type of texture into a painting or drawing. And I like it though. I hope to see my portfolio grow over the years, you know, and not look the same throughout, you know, a period of, you know, 10, 20 years. Like I hope that you can see how my work progressed, and maybe what was influencing me through these years and through those years. Like I like growth, and I want to see that in my portfolio.
Would you say that creating your own style is natural for artists who work hard, or they must work towards becoming unique?
Both, I think, you know.
I mean, do you have to try to create something different from others, or it just comes naturally, like over the years?
I always tell the guys like don't try so hard at it. Like you know, the way I think styles kind of have developed is like you know, who you're influenced by. You know, all the people you're influenced by. You're taking little bits of this and this and this, and then you have to work hard at like drawing and constantly, and then it just kind of develops on its own. One thing I think that doesn't happen though is if you only are to keep your head down tattooing, and you never really develop a style. Like I think it's a lot of it is like what you do when you go home, you know. You have to work at home to bring these things back to tattooing. Yeah.
So it's not a 9-to-5 job. You have to continue after.
No, yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
What do you think of people copying your tattoos or your paintings? Are you proud to be copied, or you're not so happy about it?
You know, that's funny. When I was younger, and people first started, or when I started seeing, you know, people taking some of the stuff that looked like my work, or even flat right just stealing it, you know, I used to get mad about it, you know, and I think, man, it's been quite a few years now, and I think just with age, I've like learned to take it as a compliment. Yeah, I remember too though, like when they used to say like, what did they say? There was a compliment. I forgot the saying, but people would be like, "Oh, you take it as a compliment." I would be like, "Nah," like furious. But then I think now, like looking back on it, it was like I'm happy that people would that I was able to develop something that people wanted to, you know, I don't know the right word, emulate. Yeah. Yeah.
Have you ever copied someone's style and technique, like maybe in the beginning of your career?
For sure. Yeah, I mean, there was guys like Robert Hernandez and Paul Booth that their work just really spoke to me. So again, like in the beginning, you're trying to you're trying to, I guess I'm trying to copy them and pick up what they do and learn that, you know, and then eventually, you know, try and, yeah. So.
Do you think that copying other tattoos can lead to something new, or is it a stylistic dead end?
Again, I think this is like how hard you're gonna push it, you know. Are you gonna go home and work on pushing it further and developing your own kind of style, or are you really just trying to copy what you see and go home, you know?
What inspired your famous Filigree? More specifically, what inspired you to add those elements in your art, and what's the purpose of it?
I think because a few things, you know. I loved like the Japanese style with all the flow and movement, and then one of my favorite artists, Muka, like, you know, notorious for the Art Nouveau and all the movement and I guess you could say swirls going on in his paintings, and then once I started going to Europe, and you would see, you know, all the Rococo or all the Baroque stuff. Everywhere you look, you know, we don't have nothing like that here. So I was really inspired by it, and I always used to carry a sketchbook, and I think at some point I just started adding that stuff on top of like women's hair or like a skull, and then eventually, you know.
So what's the purpose in your pieces for Filigree? Does it create some flow, some movement, or does it attract the people's attention to some elements, or?
I mainly it was thrown in there for like movement, flow, like you say, but I mean filigree and all that like scroll work stuff is beautiful on itself. So I just kind of figured adding another, you know, attractive thing to look at on top of, you know, like maybe a woman's face. I just figured it couldn't hurt. There was really no purpose other than just trying to not do a portrait, you know. I was trying to add something else, keep it surreal, you know.
How important is art education for tattoo artists? Would you recommend for everyone to go to art school, or is it only for some artists, like those who do realistic tattoos?
Shoot, I don't know, man. Like the way these kids are tattooing nowadays, I'm like,
no art school needed?
Huh?
No art school needed?
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to art school or not, but these kids are amazing, man. So I don't want to say art school's needed. I think seeking extra education is always good, though. Workshops, seminars, private lessons, any of that stuff, I think is yes, I think it's needed and recommended. But I don't. The whole school program can be difficult, and I was always terrible at school, so I don't want to say that people need that.
Okay. When it comes to learning how to tattoo, what's more effective in your opinion? Apprenticeship or self-learning?
So I'm gonna be a hypocrite. I personally didn't have a formal apprenticeship. You know, I kind of just learned on my own. Got some advice from people, and then I got into a shop and had a good mentor. But I started as an artist. I didn't really start as an apprentice, you know. But I always think that my tattooing would be a lot further had I taken an actual apprentice. Like I think like I could have cut out like 2 or 3 years or more of, you know, trial and error, you know, and making mistakes, waiting for the people to come back, figuring out what was wrong, you know, doing it again. Like all that time, all that took time, and I really think that if I had a master who would have told me how you're gonna put ink into skin and make it last, then I think I'd probably be 2 years farther in my work right now. Yeah.
So you think like for most people it makes sense to get an apprenticeship?
Yeah. Yeah, and also too, I'm gonna be a little bit old school here, but I think the respect for the tattoo culture is taught in your apprenticeship, and I think that is important.
We're sitting in your new tattoo studio in Long Beach, the Raven and the Wolves. What led you to starting this shop, and are you happy with what it has become?
I had like I was in a partnership in like a private studio, and we had that for a few years. And I think what happened was I just became really ambitious, like as far as like I wanted to do different things with our studio, and it's kind of hard just in a partnership. So I was like, I'm gonna kind of branch off on my own, and that way I can have a little more chasing dreams, I guess. You know, it's hard to have a partners and kind of, I'm gonna do this, you know. And I mean, as far as how it's going, like so far so good. I mean, unfortunately this COVID thing's messed things up and set us back a year, but I think that I'm really happy. We got some really good and exciting stuff going on this year. So.
But what was the main goal for building your own studio? As a business venture, a collective of like-minded people, or like another reason?
More so the collective of like-minded people. I really wanted to push art, you know. We had the old spot where we kind of had like an art gallery along the walls where we tattooed out of the middle. So kind of the same thing here, except here I want to add an art classroom. I want to bring teachers in to teach and push art, and I want, like, you know, all the guys that I work with to chase some other form of art. You know, it could be anything, but I just want them to, I guess, push art. That's what I want to do. Yeah.
I guess you just answered my next question. Where do you see this studio in 5 or 10 years?
Oh yeah.
Like more education, more stuff like that?
Yeah, more education. I think definitely a lot more exhibitions to come. I really want to poke at all my friends in the tattoo industry to like keep them going and keep them moving, you know. It's really easy, I think, for us to kind of just become comfortable, I think, and I would love to see my friends keep producing like pieces of art and challenge them even further. And so if I'm throwing art shows, it's like, okay, now Dimitri, you're gonna have to make a painting for me.
I will. And based on your experience, what would be your advice for artists who are thinking to open their own tattoo studio?
Based on my experience, I think I would say like go for it, like chase your dreams. The one thing that I've found, and it kind of bums me out a little bit, is that like the more I have to work on the shop, the less time I have for painting, you know. So I've felt like at times like I just want to sit down and paint and draw, and it's like, no, you got to go take care of shop business, you know. Yeah.
How do you ensure the longevity of your career as a tattoo artist? Is it constant reinventing of things or sticking to one style?
I think it's constant reinvention of things. Right now, I think I found myself at a period where, again, like you see these kids that are just like, and I don't want to keep calling them kids, but you know, these younger artists that are producing this work that's just like mind blowing. Like I just came across a guy in France that is, I can't believe I never heard of him, but he's doing these pieces that I'm just like, what, you know, what is he eating? Like, does he even sleep, or like, how is he producing this work? And you know, I want to take these guys seminars, and I want to continue my education as well. So I think for sure that constant change is good.
Let's talk about marketing tools. How much do you think hype is important for a tattoo artist?
I mean, I think hype is good. You know, obviously, if you want to do career, and especially like, but I really think to as long as you're pushing, you're doing your best art, and you're trying to become a better artist, I see nothing wrong with hype. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I get a little bummed out when I see a lot of hype for someone who doesn't put the work in. If you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, by this I mean to ask if having hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram really shows that you're actually skilled at something, or is it just bullshit? Because I've seen so many artists who don't have like any major following while doing great work, and some very basic tattooers with huge following on social media who doesn't do like anything special.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean...
Is it fair?
Of course it's not fair, you know. You know, I always say like the Kardashians, like everybody always say like, oh, they ain't got no talent, and their talent is in marketing, you know. And so I think some of those artists that don't make the best work, like their talent is more in marketing, like they know how to, and they probably focus more time on that. Probably something I wish they would teach a seminar so I could learn that, but and maybe actually the artists that deserve that credit would take a seminar like that. But I'm also a little bit like, I've always been a little bit shy. Like I want to just post my work and like keep moving, you know, and maybe a lot of artists are like that as well. Like, and nowadays you kind of have to do dancing and singing and something creative video wise to get followers, you know. Yeah.
What do you think of working with famous clients? Do you find it more difficult to work with them?
For sure.
Yeah.
That was an easy question. Yeah, man. I don't have a ton of celebrity clients, but I'll be honest. I've had some celebrity clients that were like amazing to work with, but the majority of them, like I found it just hard, like, you know. Yeah, like
is it just their attitude, or?
I think that they are used to being surrounded by yes men, so they are used to having that control, which is okay. But then when they ask us to do art, like if you come to me and you want me to give you my best, then I think it's important to like release some control, you know. And so the celebrities I have worked with that I enjoyed working with, I had to just have that heart-to-heart talk with them where it was like let me do my thing. Please just let me prove it. And after a while it worked out, and then they were just like, you know what, I trust you. And then I've had other celebrities that wouldn't let go of that, so yeah.
So you gotta earn their respect to be able to do your
I think so, yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
How helpful was it for your career when you worked with your first famous clients? Did you notice some changes in your like clientele or anything like that?
Not really, because I've always been somebody that like, and mind you, this was like before social media became like too crazy, like where you would want to cross promote each other and stuff. Like most of those celebrity clients, I asked them if they, you know, wanted me to respect their privacy. So there's like a lot of, or there's celebrities that like nobody even knows I tattooed, you know, because we never promoted it, and I don't know, I just respected their privacy, you know. And it was probably a bad move on my part, but I don't know, I feel good about it, you know.
I see.
Yeah.
What's the one important thing tattoo artists need to learn?
How to get the ink to stay. This is true, because this is like, for me, the art of tattooing is putting a good tattoo in and making it last as long as possible. And I feel like sometimes that can be lost. So I feel like sometimes there's some really good artists that aren't good tattoo artists, and they need to go back to the drawing board. If they see something is like, if they see that when it's healed, it's not coming back, or when it's coming back healed, it's not looking close enough to the picture they're posting, I think it's important to go back to the drawing board, like figure out like what you did wrong, and I think that's important. Like keep trying to learn what you're doing.
So you think that many artists nowadays don't care much about the longevity of their tattoos?
I'm not saying many do. I'm saying sometimes I think with that hype question that you were talking about,
it's more important for them.
Yeah, is more important, and you lose sight of what our real job is, and that's to put a tattoo in as good as possible and make it last as long as possible.
I agree. Do you ever have creative burnout? If so, what do you do to fix it? How do you reset your mind?
Yeah. I think everybody has a creative burnout, or all the time. Like, I go through them a lot in a year span. But what I do to fix it is I go to conventions, I do guest spots, I go to museums. Those usually can get me back into into mode, you know.
So traveling, meeting new people, visiting new places.
Take a seminar, workshop, just getting out of your shop, maybe, you know. I think it's very easy for us to put our head down and just work, and then you kind of like feel like everything looks the same after a while, and it's like, okay, it's important to like take that time off and go do something, go find creativity, and then bring it back home and back to the lab, you know. Yeah.
Okay. Do you ever get tired of specific clients, like myself?
Hey, you almost made me spit my drink. No, I don't think so. No, well, fortunately, like where I'm at in my career right now, like I'm kind of able to handpick clients that are giving me those freedoms. And if they want to just keep going and going and going, you know, we start like a back, and the next thing you know, we're covering like a lot of the body. Like for me, that's okay, as long as they're continuing, you know, to give me my freedom. And you know, I like working with clients, but I also like when they're like, okay, now just be you, you know.
How do you handle long tattoo sessions? Do you work out a lot to avoid back pain? And
I do work out now more. I think when I was younger, obviously you're like invincible when you're younger, so I was having like a lot more you know, like 12 and 14 hour sessions, and my back isn't the same anymore. So as far as advice to any younger tattoo artists, is be like, take care of your body, you know, get out and exercise, do a walk after your session is important to get out and do a walk. And then in the mornings before, like I try to work out and get some kind of exercise in. Yeah.
Would you mind sharing your daily routine? What's your daily schedule looks like?
So my daily routine usually is I wake up really early. I've always been an early bird. I wake up at 5:30. I have my husky Mika. So I kind of got into it like this because it gets hot out here. So for me to keep Mika cool, she has to walk early in the morning. So that's why we're up early. Exercise. I usually doing a walk or a jog. Then I come home, do like 30 minutes of some kind of weights, or I started Muay Thai a few years ago, and doing something like that. Then you know, breakfast, and come into the shop, start preparing my artwork, and then tattoo till about, I don't know, about 7 or something, 7 or 8, and then home, walk the dog again, and then and eat. Yeah, that's my life. Oh, and then usually, and then some kind of art, like I'll try to draw or paint. Yeah. Yeah.
By the way, why did you choose a husky living in California?
Probably selfish reasons, obviously, but I think like she looked like a wolf. They looked as close to a wolf as I thought, or you know, and I was just like, I want a husky. Yeah, but I like that they're active. You know, I want an active dog. I want a dog that when I go out in nature, like, is gonna go out on hikes with me, go in the snow, stuff like that.
I know that you're a co-owner of Bishop Rotary. What do you enjoy the most about it? Is it the ability to help design and create tools for your own preferences, or is it having a hand in creating successful products for other artists?
I mean both. You know, I love that you can. Like one thing that's cool about it is I always say it like a kind of like a, you know, like a mad scientist. Like, you know, if we come up with an idea, we're able to like produce like some prototypes or stuff like that, you know, and to me that's like the most fun, you know, that we're able to be like, oh, let's do this, oh, you know, let's make this ointment, or let's make this spray or this machine. It's like, okay, you know, and then next thing you know, their samples come back to me, and it's like, oh, cool, you know, and like that's fun. I feel like I said, I feel like a mad scientist or something, you know. Yeah.
Cool. I have a few technical questions from your followers, if you don't mind answering them.
Yeah.
What's your design process like, step by step, from meeting the client to finalizing the design and starting the tattoo?
Okay. Let me see. My design process. I approach it a couple different ways. I've gotten it over the past few years. I've gotten really into doing my own photography and creating my own references. Typically now I'm doing bigger pieces, and if that's the case, I usually try and go and photograph my own stuff. But my design process is usually some kind of art consultation with my clients. Sit them down, kind of figure out what they want, and then start designing. And whether that be I go home and photograph what I need, or like finding the stuff on the internet and putting it together right there in front of the client. But yeah, I'm usually like photoshopping stuff on top of a photo of their body, and then and that's kind of it.
So you usually design all your stuff with the client sitting with you? Yeah.
I think for me that works the easiest, because I like them to have a little bit of input on stuff, you know. I don't want to just design stuff and be like, oh, this is what you're getting, you know. I like them to have a little bit of what the idea they had in mind, you know.
Not too much.
Not too much.
Okay. What's your tip for creating perfect contrast on the skin? Like negative space ratio?
I don't know that if I've actually broken that down into a formula. But I would say, as far as any kind of negative flow that I do or anything like that, I would say that as long as it doesn't distract too much from the focal point, you know, that there's got to be a nice balance of that, you know. Yeah.
What do you think of opaque black and gray tattoos?
I'd love to see them healed over time, but honestly, I haven't seen them, so I can't really. I don't have any opinion on them. I think they look amazing on over the internet, but I haven't seen one in real life, and I would like to see how it ages. You know. Yeah.
How do you mix your tones?
I usually get some type of thicker ink, that stuff that's gonna look a little more dense, and I'll put so I'll have 8 caps, and I'll have that one cap that will have the denser ink up top, and then I'll get some type of lining ink, and then I usually will do 7 caps of that. So it's a full cap, a half cap, 12, 8, 4, 2, and 1. And then I have what I call my secret sauce, but it's just water and witch hazel. It's just a 50-50 mix of water and witch hazel. And I'll just fill up the rest of the caps like that.
Do you notice any difference with witch hazel and without it?
I feel like my grays heal up, or my tattoos heal up really fast. I also feel that it lets me be a little more aggressive when it comes to shading, and not as red. I could be wrong. I mean, all the tattoos are always red anyways. But yeah, that's what I do.
Did someone teach you, or it was developed by trial and error?
Yeah, I developed by trial and error. I really liked making my own mixes as opposed to pre-mix, and making my own washes, because I can always make it darker if that's what the reference calls for, or I can make it lighter, you know. But I can have control of that, you know. I can add some drops, take it away, you know.
Do you put light tones in the skin the same way as you do your darker tones?
Yes. Yeah. I'm always tell my guys, like, I think that you have to believe in the ink that you put out there, and saturate it the same.
What are your favorite groupings of needles?
I really like my needles. I like a 3-liner, something really tight. I like a 7-liner, 9-round shader, and then I go to a 5-mag, but I don't know what you call it, with the straight edges, or not curved. And then I'll do a 9 curve mag and a 15 curve mag.
Does gauge matter to you or not?
I prefer a regular 12 gauge with the long taper.
Okay. And a couple more. Are you thinking of retirement from tattooing eventually? And if you do, how would you spend your time?
There's days I think about it, but I think ultimately, I don't know if I'll ever retire. I just want to make my days be less and less, maybe throughout the week. Maybe cut down to 4 days a week of tattooing, and eventually 3 days a week of tattooing. And I'd probably replace that with like doing some kind of fine art at home. I took a sculpture class before COVID hit, and I was loving it, and I was like kind of signed up to keep going. I was actually gonna take some time off of work so I can pursue it. But I think that's, I'll never retire from art. I don't think any of us ever will, you know? Yeah.
Completely anonymous question. You'll never find out who asked it. Do you prefer top or bottom?
Top.
Great, I'll tell Franco. And my final question. I know you're fluent in many languages. Could you say something in Russian?
Spasiba, lublю вас.
Perfect, thank you. Thank you so much for your time and letting me interview you. I wish the best for you in your studio. And I really hope that you'll finish my sleeve one day.
Will do. I'm really honored that you would have me as your first interview, you know? And, yeah, but thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
That's all, folks. I hope you enjoyed this interview, and let me know in the comments if there is anything else you'd like to ask Carlos. We'll try to answer those questions. Next time I'll talk about the design process for my tattoos. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so, hit the like button, and if you find this information useful, share it on your Instagram. As always, this show is sponsored by Rotary, makers of the best tattoo machines and supplies in the industry. Thank you all and see you soon. Bye bye.